If you find some time, kindly read the entire of Joshua chapter 6. But then we will read from verse 1 to verse 21. We skip a few verses here and there. And the title is God Goes Ahead of You. You shall have victory. Amen. God goes ahead of you. You shall have victory in Jesus' mighty name. All right. So now the gates of Jericho were securely barred because of the Israelites. No one went out, no one came in. That's a bad state to be in, yeah? Then the Lord said to Joshua, see, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its kings and its fighting men. March around the city once with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times with the priests blowing the trumpets. When you hear the sound of a long blast on the trumpets, have the whole army give a loud shout. Then the wall of the city will collapse and the army will go up, everyone straight in. And so the verses that follow are from verse 6 are of Joshua, giving instructions to his people and his people doing what they're supposed to do. And then we read from verse 15. On the 7th day, they got up at daybreak and marched around the city 7 times in the same manner, except that on that day they circled the city 7 times. The 7th time around, when the priests sounded the trumpet blast, Joshua commanded the army, shout, for the Lord has given you the city. The city and all that is in it are to be devoted to the Lord. Only Rahab the prostitute and all who are in her house shall be spared, because she hid the spies we sent. All right. And then the trumpet sounded in verse 20. The army shouted, and the sound of the trumpet, when the men gave a loud shout, the wall collapsed. So everyone charged straight in and they took the city. What an encouragement this morning that God has delivered, the year. God has delivered the day. God has delivered the month into your hands. That God is giving you victory. That's what we're titling our devotion today. That He goes ahead of you and is giving you victory. But what I notice about the story of Joshua and Israelites is that, God's victory will come, yes, but then also we have a responsibility, to play. We have a role to play before we realize the victory of God. And what I see with the Israelites and with Joshua is that they are keen to follow the instructions of God. They are keen to hear what the Lord is saying, and they are keen to go by the instructions of the Lord. And so, if we are going to realize victory, and yes, we will, but if we are going to realize victory this year, this month, then we must be keen. Remember, he says in the beginning of Joshua chapter 1, do not let this book of law depart from your lips, meditate on it day and night. So if we are going to gain this victory, then we must be in keeping with the instructions of the Lord. So God says, march around the city. That's one instruction. He says, do not shout at this particular point. Only shout at this other particular point. This time, go round 7 times. Sometimes you could be tempted to ask, why must I? Why do I have to? But God, can't I just go around the city once? Must I go 7 times? But then God is sovereign, and God knows why He tells us to do whatever He tells us. He knows the end from the beginning. So we must be in keeping with the law. We must be in keeping with the instructions of the Lord. And how will you know the instructions of the Lord if you're not in communion with Him? How will you know the instructions of the Lord if you are not listening to Him? If you're not reading His word? If you're not spending time in prayer? So what I'm saying is that, yes, victory is guaranteed, as far as it depends on God, we shall win. But then we must know that there is also some role we have to play in this victory. The Lord will level every mountain ahead of us this year. Isaiah 40 says that every valley shall be raised up, every mountain and hill made low. The rough ground shall become level, the rugged places are plain, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all the people will see it together. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken. The Lord will level every mountain. The Lord will make every crooked path straight. My prayer and my desire this morning is that we shall be keen to hear God, keen to follow his instructions. I'm just imagining if Joshua had decided to go around 8 times, or 4 times or 3 times, the wall definitely would not have come down. So whatever God has told you to do this year, do it, for he goes ahead of you and he gives you victory, because victory, definitely victory, belongs to Jesus Christ. And so we are winning in this season. There is no other way out of it. We shall win. We have to win. And we shall be in keeping with the law and with the instructions of the Lord. Because indeed, victory belongs to Jesus Christ. Amen.